Hey y'all, welcome to Kamira's Kitchen. Today I'm going to show you how to do a little spin on a classic pineapple cake. And we're going to do a pineapple upside down pound cake. And not only is it going to have pineapples on the top, but it's going to have pineapple bits all in the inside. And I'm going to show you a secret ingredient to just up that pineapple flavor. Let's go ahead and get started. If you've been following my baking recipes for any amount of time, you guys know I love to weigh my flour. Yes, I do, because that's the reason why a lot of y'all's cakes come out dry. The flour is compressed in the bag and you're just using too much. So I'm going to weigh out about 360 grams. Then into that, I'm adding my baking powder as well as my salt. Since my flour was super lumpy today, I'm going to take this, I'm going to put this through a sieve, and to help it go a little faster, I'm going to use a spatula. If you want to get a food scale, I'm going to link one in the description box for you. Now that my flour is sifted, I'm going to get out a 20-ounce can of crushed pineapples. Now, y'all pay close attention to what I'm going to do to this pineapple, because if you mess this up, baby, your cake is going to be way too wet and it's not going to come out good. And don't you dare come into my comments telling me that my recipe won't right. Okay, what you're going to need to do is drain this pineapple, but you can't just pour it in the sieve. You actually need to press out some of the juice and mix it around a bit, because you don't need all that excess pineapple juice. Look at how much that I got out of this. Okay, I'm just going to use that pineapple juice for another recipe. Don't throw it in the cake. Don't do none of that. Okay, you just need those pineapple bits. Now I am going to beat together 2 sticks of butter as well as half of a cup of butter flavored shortening. Now, if you're not a fan of the shortening, baby, just throw in another stick of butter. Okay, but I'm just trying to save a little bit of money. I'm going to use a combination of white sugar and brown sugar. Brown sugar adds a good flavor with the pineapple combination. And I am going to beat this sugar and butter mixture for about 4 to 5 minutes until it is light and fluffy. I have 6 large eggs, and y'all, I could not see what I was doing. Baby, I dropped me some of that egg white, but you know what? We kept rolling with it. Okay, so I put in 1 or 2 eggs at a time, whatever fell in there, to be quite honest with you. And I just beat it until it was well combined. Now, for the secret ingredient, okay, y'all, I use this little pineapple flavoring. Now, I found this in my local Asian market. I've also seen it in a couple of African markets, or like ethnic stores, but this right here will add a nice little yellow color to your cake, and it actually has a really good pineapple flavor. However, if you can't find this, a good substitute would be some orange extract instead. So now I am going to add a tablespoon of vanilla extract. That just gives it a great base flavor and that pineapple flavoring. I'm going to use 2 teaspoons of this. It does have a dye in it, so it'll give it a nice color, but I'm telling y'all, this will change cake, baby. If you can get this, go ahead and get this. All right, I'm going to turn my mixer on a medium speed, and I'm going to begin to alternate adding the flour mixture with some sour cream. Sour cream is another key to this cake. It makes it extremely moist. If you do not have sour cream, you can use heavy cream instead. I would not, however, just use a cup of milk. It is not the same because it just doesn't have the same fat content. If you don't have heavy cream with the butter, you can beat in 1 block of cream cheese, and then you'll just be adding in the dry mixture here. So those are your alternatives. Once this has been mixed, you just want to stop it. Do not over mix your batter. You just mix it until it is just combined, because if you do that, your cake is going to develop too much gluten and it's not going to come out right. So I'm just going to fold in anything that may not have gotten mixed in well by the beater at the bottom of the bowl. And then I'm going to fold in this crushed pineapple. Because I have left the crushed pineapple, whole just as they are, when you go to cut the cake, you will see that it doesn't cut pretty. All right, which is not a problem for me. Now, I've not tried this, but I think that you could take this pineapple and then just blend it in the food processor a little bit to break it up. And that probably would prevent this issue. If you try that, let me know. So I have my good old bundt pan. I am going to grease this with a little bit of shortening. It say it's non-stick, but I don't trust that, okay? Because I can tell you right now, I'm going to be angry if my pound cake don't come loose, all right? So once you cover this in shortening, you then put some sugar. You can use flour. However, when you use flour, it just adds a little white cast to the outside of the pound cake, and I don't always like that, okay? Now, the caveat with this is if you use sugar, you need to get that cake out that pan while that cake is still hot, or else your cake not going to come out, all right? Now I have 1/4 of a cup of melted butter. I'm going to put that at the bottom of the cake pan, and then I'm going to put 1/2 of a cup of brown sugar. Please, y'all, listen to me. Do not be tempted to add pineapple juice to the top of your bundt pan. It is going to make your pound cake way too wet. In fact, even these little pineapple rings, I made sure I shuck off any excess juice. I promise you this cake is moist on another level and you do not need it. So inside of each one of the pineapple rings, I put a little cherry raw, because y'all know it gives tropical vibes. And then I'm going to add all of my cake batter. To make sure that there are no air bubbles in the cake, I like to tap the cake, and that will just make any batter sink down into the rings. I am going to cook this cake in a 325 degree oven for anywhere from 70 to 80 minutes. You want to check it at the 70-minute mark. If it is still wet, put it back in there for 10 to 15 more minutes. You definitely do not want to undercook this cake, or else it's going to fall and just be way too wet. In total, mine took 80 minutes to cook. I'm going to place this on the counter and let it sit for about 10 minutes. You cannot let this cake cool into the pan because of the sugars. They basically become glue, okay? Like they're just hot and molten. And if they cool down, they're going to make the cake stick to the pan. So I use my knife just to loosen it up a bit. And then I'm going to go in for that flip, baby. Okay, and y'all gonna see. Okay, y'all gonna see. I've been living right. I've been praying. Okay, I've been doing the right thing. So God bless me. Amen. So my cake came out almost perfectly. Now there's that little spot there. See, I don't let that bother me because I'm not bougie. I'm just going to take that little bit from the pan and I'm going to stick it right on there while the cake is hot. And we're going to eat it and we're going to have a good time. Now, the best thing to do is to let this cake sit overnight. I promise you, you will be rewarded for your patience. I'm going to go in here and get me out a big slice. And baby, this cake is super moist and delicious. Let me know if you are going to try it. Goodbye and God bless.